So, me and my mom have seen the movie, the new Rogue One, at the Orpheum Theater. And what do you think?
It was awesome.
I think it's pretty good. It was pretty fucking amazing. And I really like the props and the attention to detail. But it's fucking cold out here, so let's wait till I'm back home. I wasn't really looking forward to the film. I was just like, well, it'll come out when it comes out, and I'll see it when I see it. But it was actually really good. I really liked it. I think it's definitely one of those films that goes into the list of like perfect films, like some of the Star Wars. So yeah, it's a really nice film. I liked it, but the props are really amazing. That's what I want to talk about. So as we all know, the movie's about getting the plans to the Death Star. Well, I never expected the plans for the Death Star to be on an amazing looking hard drive. It's actually on a hard drive that they have to transport and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty freaking cool. Well, I started thinking about it, and I want to make that hard drive, or find it if it's a real thing. Although I think that it's most likely a very custom thing that they just made from a block of aluminium. But I thought it was kind of interesting nonetheless. So I've spent the last 2 hours trying to make a 3D model of it, and I've just now realized that the images that I have are too low quality to really do anything good, because I finished like a main 3D model, and I tried to line it up with all the pictures that I have of it that I found, and like these, it doesn't line up. So I obviously did it totally wrong, because of course I do it the old-fashioned way of just like measuring the screen, like, oh, so in this view 1 millimeter is 3.7 millimeters, so multiply that and move everything around. And so I got a very rough estimate of the configuration of it, but yeah, plus I don't really know actually the whole size of it. So this is one of those things where I'll have to definitely wait until like someday in the future, whenever one of the props gets photos on like replica forums or whatever, and someone actually has like high quality pictures of it. Because right now I'm only assuming that they're using like a computer standard, because like whenever I saw it, the first thing I imagined was a Bigfoot drive, a quantum Bigfoot drive. But I mean, most likely they just made it from scratch. Speaking of standards, it's definitely not this standard. A 8-inch floppy drive. Yeah, it's definitely not that. But I thought I wanted to show that anyway, because it's kind of cool. There's no reason not to show this. It's an amazing thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, whenever you guys go see Rogue One, because I know a lot of you probably will, keep an eye out for that hard drive. And look at all the props. The props are amazing. I really like how the props are made, because they seem to have they seem to take from the style of the old props. So they look like the style of the old props was just how technology was in that world, but they're just having a clearer representation of that world. And so you can definitely see the influence of how the props are different from the later films and the earlier films. Well, in the Star Wars universe, I mean, the props seem a lot more like the props in the original films, just better, but the same kind of theme. You know what I mean? It seemed like design aesthetics and stuff like that. It's really cool. I really like the props in this movie about the Star Wars film. I don't really know what else to really say. Chances are, because like last time, Star Wars Episode 7, I ended up seeing it 10 times in the theaters. I'll probably end up doing the same thing with this one. But that's because I happen to live near a theater where I'm like really good friends with the owners, and it's a really wonderful time. And they're like $6 for a seat, and they just really wonderful service, and it's a really nice time just to get a chance to go to the theaters. Because sometimes I go to their theater just to go to their theater. I don't even care what the movie is. I want to go to the theater. It's like a event. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of theaters don't have that care that makes it into, oh, it's a special occasion, we're going to the theaters. And so yeah, it's like that's mostly what it is. I know I've already uploaded a video for today, so I guess I can count this as like a mini little extra episode. Like, you can forget about it if you don't want to watch it. But yeah, a ramble about props. I love props. They're so amazing. And I can see myself getting into trying to make like replicas of props, like really nice quality ones sometime on this channel. Cause, like for instance, my grandfather, not the grandfather that owns all the land, but the grandfather that happens to, well, he owns a good amount of land, but it's like he owns like a couple extra lots, and one of them happens to have an old workshop on it. And so he's told me that I would be more than welcome to steal a bunch of room and make out a bunch of workbenches and have a lathe and a milling machine, because he wants to have a lathe and milling machine or whatever for like woodworking or whatever he's doing. But yeah, I might get just like a cheap Harbor Freight milling machine and lathe and have them over there, and I could see about start doing like lots of stuff, because I think that hard drive is most likely going to be made out of aluminium, and I'll have to machine it a lot to get it to like look like it is. I'll also have to probably figure out how to anodize things. That's going to be interesting, because I think with anodization you actually have to bake it into the aluminium. Although I'm not sure. I think there's also a lot of electricity involved, because basically you're making, from my understanding, you're basically making aluminium oxide, a coating of aluminium oxide on the outside. But I could be wrong. It's past midnight. Wow. I think I'm going to go upload this video and go to bed and think about the hard drive, because not only the hard drive, that hard drive in the film, and the entire data system, the Imperial data system, data center, and like, because they had like a big arm that would go and like grab the hard drives out and move them. It was very 1970s, because back in the 1970s, the first terabyte memory bank was actually a robotic arm that would go through and pull out little drawers that have strips of memory of film that had been exposed, and each film had like 3 megabytes of data on it. And so that's kind of reminded me of that. I don't know. There's also another one where it was a really interesting like linking mechanism where you put the hard drive into a data like collector, or like a data input thing, and that was actually pretty cool also, because if I make the hard drives, I might have to make one of those like things that it goes into, because that's pretty cool. And I guess if I make the thing it goes into, I'll have to make the control panel that you have to press. That's a lot of things to think about. Chances are I'll never end up getting to actually doing it, but it's fun to think about. And it's also fun to think about all the things they must have done to get those made. Plus, they probably made like 50 of them, just in case some of them fell in a mud puddle or something whenever they were setting up. You know what I mean? It's like, man. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And I want to hear your guys' opinion of the props, or just any opinions of Rogue One whenever you see it. See ya.